Good evening and welcome. On October the 7th, one of the 9 political parties, or should I say political parties vying for the president of the Republic, will be given the keys. That is, the representative of one of the 9 political parties will be given the keys to Unity Palace. This will be through your vote. And giving them your vote will depend on how best they convince you, isn't it? Tonight we will project into 7 years from now and talk about the economy, the political situation in the country, and how best the candidates have prepared to be able to convince you in terms of what they offer in their manifestos. We have 3 political parties out of the 4 that we contacted for the program tonight. We have a representative of the Popular Front for Development, which is the party which has as candidate Barrister Akeremona, represented here by Prince Ekoso, who is the spokesperson for that political party this evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Joe, and good evening to fellow panelists. And I'm grateful once again that you've invited me to this very important discussion, which I hope will galvanize Cameroonians to see the need for us to be able to make that very key decision, the key decision to provide this country with a leader that has a vision, and a vision that is not a vision that has kept the people bound for the past 36 years.
Okay, we have Mr. Samuel Menang. He is the Center Regional Coordinator of the party that has as flag bearers Mr. Serge Espoir Matumba, which is the United People for Social Renovation, PUS. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Josebonken Kalabopse. We are very happy to be here tonight in order to present to our fellow Cameroonians what we think, what we call renovation. We want to say a special good evening to Northwest and Southwest population. We know that they are suffering right now, but in our party, we always say, no matter how long the night will take,
it will dawn.
The day will come.
Okay.
And then we think that the day will come on the 7th October with Serge Espoir Matumba to rebuild this country.
Thank you. And on my left is for Tabe Tado, Senate Vice President representing the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And I must say that I'm delighted to take part with my fellow Cameroonians who, through our instruments that we have liberalized political parties in the country, since the birth of our party, 1985, we've made sure that democracy comes in full force, and this gives an opportunity to criticize constructively what we have done on what we think they feel that we have not done. But we think that we've done so much and we're doing so much. We're bringing the country to a level of industrialization, and that is why we feel that we should continue and give the people and give the populace and give everybody what is required for every citizen to live, to see, and to enjoy. And so we are here to say that we have still more to deliver to the population.
Okay.
So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
That sounds quite interesting as a beginning, but let me, I'd want to ask all of you this question, I'll need just brief responses. And this has to do with the economy. How would you rate Cameroon's economy today? Good?
Of course.
No, excuse me, let me complete my question. Good, can do better, or bad?
Is good and still can be improved upon.
Okay, good and can do better.
Yes.
Okay, Serge, rather, Samuel?
Yeah, Mr. Joe, I will not have to think twice to say our economy is bad and need to be better. Okay. And that's how we are here.
Okay. Prince?
Yeah, the economy is bad. There's no doubt about it, because all Cameroonians know about it. Because, for example, in the days ahead, CDC will be laying off not less than 300 workers. You know, and CDC has proven, because CDC is one of the second employer of Cameroonians beside the state. And if CDC is already broken down, then you can be able to understand that the economy is actually very bad. And in order for the economy to be good, which is the aspiration of Akarimona, we must be able to have instruments that will be able to create an economic base that relates to the aspirations of the people. But as of now, the economic structure of this country hasn't got anything that has to do with the aspiration of the people.
Okay. I would like us to, for a start, to begin with this overview of the Cameroonian economy today, a report which was put together for us by Joyce Kimbi Fuajo.
The past 7 years in Cameroon has been remarkable, with the economy coming under strong focus. A lot of importance have been placed on boosting the national economy to make Cameroon a middle-class economy by 2035. Both the primary, secondary and tertiary sectors of the economy have received particular attention. Agriculture, for instance, has witnessed great improvement both in production and processing of its produce. Cameroonians and friends of Cameroon alike can today attest to the fact that cocoa and coffee that was used to be considered as entirely cash crops are today also food crops. They are produced, processed and consumed locally and exported in great quantity. Take rice, for instance, that was yesteryear's dependence on importation. It is today almost a thing of the past. From Dop in the northwest region to Garwa in the north region through Nanga Eboko in the center, rice cultivation is now part and parcel of the population's daily life. Go even to the supermarkets in major cities of the country, and you will be pleasantly surprised to see Cameroon-made rice and other products of high consumption comfortably competing with imported products. This is credited to effort by the government that has made agriculture one of the cornerstones of its administration. Agropoles that ensure one-stop shop production, processing and commercialization are also increasing across the country. There is government's project for the free distribution of seedlings and the creation of the Bank for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, with moderate requirements to facilitate the obtention of loans for investment for Cameroonians that could not be able to acquire loans from standard banks. Infrastructural development has equally witnessed a great leap. The Kribi Deep Sea Port in the Ocean Division of the South Region, the Memvele, the Making Hydroelectricity Project, as well as the Lompanga Hydroelectricity Project in the East Region, are few amongst many outstanding giant projects executed in the country in the past 7 years. When we consider the importance of electricity in the growing economy like that of Cameroon, the presence of power generating plants must be saluted. The putting in place of the structure for the transportation of this energy through the national grid is non-negligible as effort to boost the economy. Commuters between Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, the center, west and southwest regions are today beneficiaries of the second bridge over the Vuri. This ultra-modern edifice has made circulation less stressful in and out of the economic capital. Time, they say, is money, and time is gained by moving almost freely to and fro the bridge that was once a nightmare to many. The digital gap to fast-track economic development in Cameroon has also known progress in the past years. Today, the country boasts of the national strategy to develop the digital sector and the economy increasingly being digitalized. Infrastructure development in this sector has also witnessed a great leap. Reason why youngsters who are gifted in the sector can conveniently transform their initiatives from their brains to visible realizations. The number of startups spread across the country from north to south, east to west lends credence to the fast digital revolution in the country. With all these and more in place and initiatives still in the pipeline, one can conveniently say that Cameroon's economic development in all its facets is on the move. The road might still be long, with so much yet to be done, but steadily the country's economic development is marching forward.
Now, Prince, when you listen to that report, what's your reaction?
Well, Joe, you see, sometimes Cameroonians are really taken aback when we see kind of reports, and those reports are only mainly shown through national TV like the CRTV, because and one of the things I want us to understand is that the regime has always been very concerned with paperwork. They show us images, make decrees on issues which Cameroonians never feel them concretely on the ground. No. For example,
are you saying that you don't find ndop rice in the supermarket, that the bridge over the Vuri has not been built, that the Kribi deep sea port is not there, that the Memvele or the Lompanga dam has not been completed, or
Joe,
what? Why? What do you say?
The problem is not about the bridge of at the Vuri River, because first of all, when that bridge was about to be constructed, we overheard the government making different kind of statements that a bridge was supposed to be built that was going to take from Yaoundé, passing across from the backside of Douala to avoid traffic, But now when they came and constructed that bridge in River Vuri, I think about last week, there was a lot of traffic on that same bridge, which caused a lot of tension and pressure on the lives of Cameroonians who wanted to go and do their normal business. Now, the bridge is not actually completed, but we already have traffic on that same bridge. It means that the vision for 35 or 36 good years has not been one that is actually to resolve the problems of Cameroonians in their daily lives. Now, I saw a picture there of how the government has helped to carry out different projects. Like I saw women harvesting pepper and all of that. I saw, if I recognize that image is done somewhere around Sase area, getting towards Boya. Where you have people who plant tomatoes and pepper and all of that. But as we speak, there is tension in that area that those women or those families are unable to go and
I want
cultivate.
us to concentrate on the economy. We'll come to
that
the
is
political
the economy. It's part of the economy, Joe. It's part of the economy. Now, the point is that if you talk about the economy is developing, when the people who are supposed to be active in developing the economy, because the economy is not developed in space, it is an instrument that has to do with the people. But now the people are not active.
I'll give you the
people are not active in doing that. Then you cannot talk about the economy is growing or the economy is moving forward. The economy is not moving forward. In fact, the economy has regressed 36 years backward as we speak. So we must understand that. Now, when we talk about infrastructures, the deep sea port that was done in Kribi, that deep sea port was primarily proposed that it was supposed to be done in Limbe. Why did they carry it to Kribi? It is not I don't have any problem with the deep sea port being in Kribi, but the amount of money that was spent in order to create that, to dig just the sea alone, that is money that would have been put in different projects and caused the lives of Cameroonians to be at ease. When we talk about electricity, right here in Yaoundé, we still have electricity shortage, what we call
load shedding.
Yes, when we talk about, there are many things that we can talk about.
Okay.
We cannot.
I just wanted you to react
concretely on ground.
Okay. I just wanted you to react to that report there on an overview of the economic situation. Samuel?
Yeah, Joseph Bonken. I'll also say, when I see and then I listen to a documentary or a report like this one, I begin to wonder if we are in the same country.
Why?
Because, first of all, I heard in the report saying that the second bridge of Vuri have solved something.
Yes,
the question I would like to ask here is that, are we very far today of those days traffic jam in Bonaberis Douala Highway? No, I think no. The traffic jam is still congested there, even with the existence of that second bridge. Now, I heard that they are saying that they cultivate rice in Ndop and so on and so forth. Are we trying to forget that a lot of our currency is going out in order to import rice?
She said it's not yet at 0%. That importation is not yet at 0, but that rice from these other areas or the basins where rice is cultivated is already in the supermarkets.
Okay, do you have the feeling that she did not say that the rice cultivation in our country is almost up to 40%? No, I think it's not like that. And then let's come back to electricity. So many dams here and there. Do we have lights in our country? No. I will say that a lot of investment may be, but with missed targets.
Okay. Senator, maybe you react to what they have said before I ask you my own question.
Yes, Joe. It's a lovable statement to hear from my colleagues of the other side. First of all, from Prince. The question that Joe has asked is, having heard or having seen the illustration of the development phases that are fast, would you say that there's nothing that has been achieved in the economic sector? You've jumped to a different thing. Have you seen pictures? Yes. Those pictures, do they refer to the development phases that have come up and are going on in the country? Yes. Res ipsa loquitur. The matter speaks for itself. The question of molding it up with disturbances that will disturb the pace of development or continuation is a different thing entirely. Have we now moved to the phase of industrializing agriculture? Yes. Who is affected now? Who is enjoying it now? Ndop. The rice has really come to create a market and jobs for Cameroonians. I go to supermarket now. I pick bed rice from Ndop. So you will not say that it doesn't exist. You can't say that. So at least when you talk again of the congestion of the bridge, is there a bridge there? That's the question. Yes, there is a bridge. Has that decongested the traffic movement? Of course.
But
has.
Not maybe to what he would have expected.
So the question is the economy moving forward or backwards? All that our candidate, President Paul Biya, a candidate, all he has done, he's moving us from a takeoff stage to an industrialized stage in 2035. And of course, this is the preparatory ground to set up dams, electricity, what do you call them, electricity, dams, etc., to prepare to supply adequate energy to all the sectors that are involved in the economic growth of a country. Without that first, you cannot talk of industrial growth. And that's where we are.
Okay.
And that's why Biya wants to continue, because he's not yet finished. He's passing through this. And that's industrialization, which is now contemplated for 2035. Okay. And more so, we are now at the third phase. What is the second phase of agriculture, called the second generation.
Okay, we'll be coming to that. But I wanted to ask you this question. Are you convinced at the level of the CPDM that agriculture still remains the backbone of the economy of Cameroon?
Very, and that's why we're doing everything to enhance it more. It is the backbone. And that's what we're making it, to enhance it, giving the opportunities for development. That's why you have in Bolova, where you have an industry for bringing the tractors the tractors are being imported in part. They are being
for second generation mechanization of the agricultural sector.
That is it.
Chief, those tractors are in the bush.
Bolova is a bush.
In the Bolova. Right now, they are in the bush.
I've enjoyed it. Catholic University of Bamenda. I'm a member of the council, the University Council of Catholic University of Bamenda, which has a school of agriculture based in Bachontai, my kingdom, where I was given 2 tractors to take to the Catholic University. The rector is there, Bishop Nko is there. Okay. So how do you say that they're in the bush?
I am just saying that those tractors are abandoned in the bush, even though they have selected to give 1 or 2 tractors here and there. It therefore means that because you are answering to a question asked by Mr. Joe Chebonkeng, that is agriculture a backbone to your regime? For me, it's still a backbone of the no. Of the I would like to say, maybe during the course of this debate, we are going to show you how you were supposed, since 10 years or 30 years, how you were supposed to manage agriculture. I would like to say something just to react, because I said when I reacted that people are very proud of Rivavuri Second Bridge. No. If people ruling us, if they knew that the role that bridge was supposed to play in the conjunction of Bonaberi and Douala, that would not have been the place it was supposed to be placed. They have put it around Bonamusadi there to deserve Bonamusadi and Bonaberi, not at that position. So we are going to come at that.
Okay.
Can I make a statement?
Prince?
Yes.
Yes.
I was going to add to what the Senator is saying, that, you know, when we talk about the agricultural sector in this country, before President Paul Biya came to power, the agricultural sector was actually booming. Sure. We had the production of coffee in great quantity. We had the production of cocoa in great quantity. We had the production of many different cash products and cash crops and food crops. But as we speak, it is difficult for our neighboring country, Gabon, to be able to survive from Cameroon anymore with food products, food crops. Now, the production of cocoa alone has dropped drastically in Cameroon. He is here. He can be able to agree on that fact. The production of coffee, there was a period in Cameroon that people were cutting down their coffee farms.
It wasn't, it's not because of international...
Joe, excuse me.
The slum in international prices.
Excuse me.
Yes.
You see, sometimes when we are talking about serious issues that concerns this country, some of us try to be able to cover up by accusing international bodies. It is wrong.
It's the international situation. Because you talk of it
any
being
leader,
a cash crop.
Any leader who comes to govern a country like this, like Cameroon, and has a good vision for the people, will actually bypass certain obstacles, whether it comes from international bodies or comes from where. But because the regime has never had a vision for this country or for the people, that is why they always accuse different people for their own failures. Now, in as much as production of agriculture or the agricultural sector in this country is concerned, they all know that they have failed and the production is very, very limited as we speak.
Okay,
For
what
example,
are you proposing?
production.
What are you proposing in place of what they are doing?
The agricultural sector in Cameroon is the backbone of the economy of this country. And Akere Muna has the strategies put in place in order to develop the agricultural sector. Number one, we must make sure that people and everything that has to do with second generation agriculture is put in place. The second agricultural sector is one of the aspects that Akere Muna has established. First of all, you cannot be talking about agriculture in the 21st century and you are using hoes and machete to do farming in Cameroon.
We have a tractor assembly plant in Ebolova. The
tractor assembly plant, I was going to come to that. That tractor assembly plant, which was an initiative of an Indian firm, came to Cameroon and wanted to create that industry in order to mechanize agriculture in Cameroon. It was the same members of this government that actually frustrated that company, and the company packed its load and went back to India. Those tractors are languishing in the forest in Ebolova as we speak. Those are all evidences to show that the agricultural sector is not a priority to this regime.
So what are you proposing?
We are proposing that all those tractors and those companies that has interest in mechanizing agriculture in Cameroon, Akere Muna is going to bring them back, and he is going to make sure that every Cameroonian who has graduated from universities like Chang University with agricultural notion will be able to have certain opportunities and certain subventions to be able to carry out agricultural projects in different levels or at different scales.
Okay.
In order that it will not only create employment, but it will create also the possibility for us to be able to supply food and crop products to other countries, to our neighboring countries. Cameroon has a lot to give out, but we have been stuck by a regime that has no vision.
Okay, Samuel, you and PRESSE, what are you proposing in the agricultural sector?
Well, first of all...
Are you first of all convinced that agriculture still remains the backbone of the Cameroonian economy?
I would like to say that for us, at the United People for Social Renovation, we think that the first thing that we must achieve is to better our agriculture, because if we are unable to have food on our table, we are unable to stand. So that's the beginning of the new Cameroon we are about to put in place. That is, to mechanize, not in the sense of the people in front of us, mechanize and really industrialize our agriculture, what they call to create the agriculture of second generation. We are going, as soon as we are in power, put in place a body that we are going to call a stabilization body. Why am I saying so? I'm going to expatiate. Maybe you will get me more. You know, with this petrol, I am happy to have somebody from that, somebody who flirted with the domain, with the petrol. In the case there is a drop of product in the market, for the population not to suffer too much at the petrol station, there is a body, in French we call it Caisse de stabilisation des produits pétroliers, who come into the game to try to arrange the thing. Let's see that now we were discussing, we say that Cameroonians were forced to start even cutting down cocoa in their farm just because there was an international drop of prices. If the people of CPDM, they had that brain to create Caisse de stabilisation des produits agricoles, right? We wouldn't have reached that level. So we are thinking to bring it back. Now, we think of the creation of huge agricultural basin. For example, I will take the example of Bafia. If you happen to go from Yaoundé to Bafoussam, you will see land everywhere. And that's the situation everywhere in Cameroon. We cannot understand why nowadays Cameroonians are unable to have 3 square meals on the table, whereas we have means to create there. And you also have to recognize the fact that while developing, while revamping that agriculture, automatically job creation will follow, and so many other things.
Now, you just talk.
I am not true.
Okay.
I'm not true.
Okay.
We are also thinking of the creation of, that is not creation, but to bring interest, to bring back youth to agriculture by financing them, by putting more money on training and financing them to create what we are going to call small enterprises. And we think that if all that is done, we are going to realize more than what we have been witnessing right now.
Now, the outgoing government has created what you call agropoles.
Yeah.
To be able to have agriculture that is in the same basin, primary produce, transform them and commercialize them. How would your own be different from what the government is doing now, the outgoing government?
Well, I will first of all try to bring you back a bit, because I don't know where those agropoles, where they are producing, transforming them in our country. I am very surprised. Chief, I will give it, maybe you will take after. We bring from China right now. So no, let's try to be serious. We are talking and then Cameroonians are listening. They know that right now, tomato in tin that we use in Cameroon are being brought from China or from elsewhere. So, to come back to your questions, how will our regime, will our government be different from them? Because I say we are going to finance, yes. We are going to finance and then bring back
entice
the interest.
Youth, yes.
Yes. I will go back to what I call in our education. In our education. In our country, the present regime taught us that the only work that you can do and be well there is when you are in arm, working under air condition and all the rest, because of all the condition that they have given to those type of jobs. So we think that if a lot of effort in terms of finance, training, and to reverse the general tendency in some countries, those who are working in the farm, they are well paid, they have a good living condition. But it seems as if in our country, if you are a farmer, that's already a problem. So we are trying to exchange that consideration, and that's why we are called a renovating party. We are working with brains to try to change the mentality. Okay. That's how our own thing will be different from the present time of Chief Tando. Okay.
Okay. Certainly,
Your Majesty, you have...
My reaction to the both speakers is simply this. I think that there's some kind of misconception, or you've not understood exactly what blueprint CPDM has over the years. And that blueprint has been translated into action over the years. And that's the more reason, more than 10 years ago, we have imported and assembled tractors to industrialize our agriculture. That's why we've done that. And these tractors have been systematically given to farmers who have the area, because our land, Cameroon land, is not all savanna. So tractors cannot work principally in the swampy areas, in the forest areas, where you have cocoa, you have all other crops which are difficult for tractors to go. And so you should understand that these things have been properly conceived and they have been put in place. What happens now is we're moving forward to make sure that they really reach at a peak of industrialization, a peak that we're going to transform all our products which are locally produced. And for the question that when there's a price fall is simply because Cameroon is a member of the Committee of Nations that is involved in Bretton Woods arrangements. So when you have the prices of commodities which are being produced by Cameroon and produced also by Ghana or Nigeria or England or the European countries, they have to enter into exchange transaction. There must be an effect in the pricing system. So that mechanism of rising and falling does not suggest that Cameroon government under President Paul Biya has not been doing its best to produce the agricultural products that are worthy of being exported. And you know we still export, right, to Gabon here. We export. From Fumbot, which you have quoted, Fumbot has all set up the small industries to sort of produce, to make sure that our
primary products,
tomatoes, for example, are canned there. You cannot say that they don't. That would be a terrible misstatement. It is not true.
Okay, there is one big problem within the agricultural sector which farmers or those who want to engage in agriculture face, the public-private partnership, which government is supposed to provide by providing the enabling environment and the money. What does the government intend to foster that?
Thank you, Joe. I've spent now already 5 years already in the Senate, and this is my second mandate. And there have been laws passed which sort of create a favorable environment, both for creating small, giving opportunity for laws for the creation of small and medium-sized enterprises that President Biya has. That vision is very lively, dynamic. It's not static. It's progressive.
Okay. This public-private partnership, which has to act like a dynamo for the economic takeoff, because the public sector has to provide the enabling environment and accompanying inputs. What are you proposing at the level of the Renovation Party?
Yes, that's why I wanted to come back on what I have just said. When I was saying that in Fumbot, I would have mentioned another town. It is observable everywhere.
Yes, but Fumbot is a good example.
Yes. When we come back to PPP, public-private partnerships, with us at the United People for Social Renovation, when we are going to be in power, right, to implement these public-private partnerships, you will realize that my elder brother or my father, Mr. Chief Tabetando, is saying that no, the tomato is being canned in Fumbot. I am saying maybe is the situation, but with the public-private partnership and with the intention of, that is, revamping the agriculture, there is more that we could do with this public-private partnership. I will give an example. If in Fumbot, I will challenge Mr. Chief Tabetando to give me the name of a company where the public-private partnership is being observed in Fumbot in the production of transformation of tomato. I am saying that tomato in Fumbot, there are moments that they sell it at 600 for a tray of tomato just because there is no way they can keep it. those are the things that our party will focus on to try to give more power to our agriculture. So if this public-private, if it is the concern of the state, the real concern of the state, if they are enough aware that they are the one that is to impulse that policy, the public-private partnership will be more seen. So we are just asking the population. I am taking them as witness. With this question, is our agriculture industrialized today? I think the answer is no. Our agriculture is not yet industrialized up till today, at the date of today, or for the past 36 years. It means that they lack interest, they lack ideas, they lack even the willingness to do so.
Okay. Now, at the level of the People's Party for Development, what are you proposing in place of what is being done now in connection to beefing up the private sector, which is supposed to be the dynamo of the economy?
Yeah, Joe, just like I said, but one of the things I want to say in passing is that all of the projects that Chief Tabetando is mentioning, that they are the blueprints of the CPDM, they are not. Because, like, for example, the Lompanga, the Menvele, and all those projects, those are projects which were developed and put as blueprint in 1974 by Aijo. So when they come here and tell Cameroonians that those are blueprints that have been put by President Pobia, it beats the imagination of Cameroonians. It beats my own imagination, because we have facts on ground, but they are denying the facts.
Okay. Now
coming back to your question.
Yes.
Coming back to your question. When we talk about the private public partnership, and when we talk about the development of the agricultural sector.
The private sector.
The private sector.
Posting the private sector.
Exactly. When we talk about the private sector, we are talking about the lives of Cameroonians, basically. And when Cameroonians are able to conceive an idea and cause that idea to become practical, then it makes them to become rich. And that is what Akeremona is focusing on. To create, to give the people the different environment which is necessary, and creating policies which are applicable, not policies which is written on paper, but policies which are applicable. For example, my brother was talking about making the enabling environment, or creating the enabling environment. For example, if you have to sponsor a project, the project should be sponsored directly, so that the people on the grassroots people are directly concerned. And that is one of the things that Akeremona is going to do. That is why, to him, the voice of the people, in terms of different aspects that they want to create for themselves, the private sector especially is one of the sectors that will be able to beef the economy. But when the government claims to be able to do everything, it fails the people, and that is what not what Akeremona has as agenda.
Okay, you want to react to what he's just said?
Naturally.
Okay.
Naturally. He talks of a blueprint emanating or flowing from President Ahijo as continuity. There was continuity. If there was any project whatsoever conceived by President Ahijo, and of course in passing over power, did not bring it to an end for the government, for the continuation of what things which were good, and if the man who has inherited from him is capable of delivering it, assuming that is what you had in mind. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Because the issue is that this is a man whom from time to time he conceives projects, which project he makes sure he realizes. This is a man who makes sure that he's a man of the people, who wants to make sure that the people's life, the standard of living every now and again is improving. That's why he has even gone further to creating low-cost housing. That's why he has gone further to making sure that agriculture in all domains across the nation is improved. Not just being parochial to say that, okay, I choose only this place or the other place. No, he's not been doing that. And he wants to make sure that his deadline of 2035, the standard of living must have been come to where you are saying now, which you know certainly you cannot deliver, because this is the only person that can deliver, because it's already in the process. Is our candidate, President Biya.
Let me ask
Okay,
you something.
no, I'll give you an opportunity to talk to him later on. But let me ask this question. Would you follow up on some of the projects which have been put in place by the current government if on the 7th of October, Cameroonians give you the mandate?
Well, Cameroon cannot end because the regime of President Paul Biya is going out.
Okay, that's fine. Now, let me follow up on that. The unemployment equation, or the unemployment equation in the country is a very serious one. How do you intend to solve it at your level?
We're talking about the private sector.
Yes.
The private sector is one of the areas that Akere Mona has actually invested in. He has done that before, and he's still doing that. And when he is given the chance from the 7th of October, he's going to do extremely well in that sector.
How?
One, in the area of small and medium-sized enterprises, Akere has developed clear plans to be able to have these youths who grow out from the university or who come out from the university to have practical jobs in the area of their specialty. That is, he is going to practicalize education, or to create the system of education will be a system of education that actually creates people to live their lives than to create people who come and sit down in their parents' home. So the practicality of education is the basic point from primary level right up to the university. And from that, he has also created another plan of action, which has to do with the aspect of, which we were talking about, the agricultural sector. For example, when we look at the state of CDC today, CDC is that company that employs secondly to the state. And Akere Mona feels that the way that the regime has been managing the country is the cause for CDC to go down today. And he wants to take over CDC and make CDC a place where it used to be. And CDC will gain its pride once again, and it will employ double than what it is employing today. Another area where Akere thinks that he is going to be very, very successful is when we have people in the diaspora who are very, very qualified in terms of the medical sector, educational sector, and the rest. He opens a window to create the possibility for these experts who are Cameroonians and who have been denied the opportunity to come to this country and to help to galvanize the economy. He will open that window for them to come with their expertise, and that will be the aspect of job creation. We all know that there are companies, private companies, who are shutting their doors in Cameroon because the regime is so stringent towards them, and many of them have packed their loads. Akere will open the taxation system, will be very flexible, and there will be a lot of transparency, because one of the reasons why some of those companies are shutting their doors is because there's no transparency. An expert in the domain of transparency and fighting against corruption, he will open that door and create a system of taxation that causes a lot of transparency. For example, if you want to ship your cars or whatever product from abroad, you don't need to really come here and start debating with the customs at the port. You register your goods there, and you pay it, and you have an electronic card, and you slot that electronic card, and it appears in the central data and provides the exact amount, and the money is transferred into the central bank in Cameroon. As easy as that.
Okay. How does PRESSE intend to tackle the unemployment equation in Cameroon?
Okay, Joe, as we used to say, or our champion Serge Espoir Matoba used to say, we will be able to create 5 million jobs within the first year. How are we going to do that? I want you to listen very well.
I'm listening.
Yeah. And then I also want Cameroonians to listen well. The first step is to reverse the tendency. That is, a job is not only a job because you are working at Yaoundé Court of Appeal or at the Treasury. A job is not only a job because you are working at CRTV. No. We are going to promote the creation of job. How are we going to do that? we are going to put in place what we call short-term trainings. Those small technical jobs that they can easily learn within 1 or 2 years. I will give you an example. At the creation of La France, they used to say France was developed by the capistes. The capistes were people who receive a training of 4 years. So we are going to promote those help in plumbery, woodwork, bricklaying, and so on. If we take an example of 1 million of companies, small size enterprises created, and then each of them is able to recruit 5 Cameroonians. At the end of it, we have 5 million Cameroonians recruited. Now, as the state, what are we going to do? We are going to enable, render possible the condition for those young Cameroonians, job creator, to be able to work with taxation arrangement. And then the business climate. We are going to put a conducive business climate that will enable international investor, but mostly internal investor, to create their companies and then to prosper. Now, we were discussing about agriculture. We have just discussed about agriculture. We think that agriculture will be the basket where we are going to have enough job. Because when you look at the country, Cameroon, everywhere we have plots. Everywhere it is grass, and then all the earth there is able to produce this culture or this other one. The state will therefore encourage, the state will accompany Cameroonians to create jobs there, and that's how we are going to arrange the whole situation of job creation in our country. We are no longer to consider the state as the main job creator, but we mention it, the public-private sector is also going to play a very vital role there in that job creation issue.
Okay. Now, would you want to respond or
yes,
ask him on question? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. In terms of job creation, what the party in
yes, the party of
PDF.
PDF, right?
Yes, that's
PDF. Yes, they talk of very interesting kind of conception. These things are better, is it thought of, but to put in practice, it's not quite easy. One, President Biya, over the years, and continuing, he has created job opportunities for the youths. Association, there is a youth, what do you call it? Employment fund.
You have PRC?
PSC, you have all of that he has created, which the youths, some have been using it. But two, more importantly, technical schools have been opened throughout the country where they train plumbers, electricians, and what have you, which make more of the children more independent. And the purpose of education, the spirit of education, is not just to get a white-collar job, get a degree, and sit down. I'm a qualified lawyer, but since I came back to the country, I didn't pick a job. I refused going to ENAM. I set up a chambers. Through that chambers, I employed people. And those people have employed others. And those people are doing jobs for themselves. So the education should not be that it is the state to provide jobs for everybody. Education is to make you independent, to think, to have a broad-based position and mind in order to make sure that you become self-sufficient. That's the purpose of education. And it is that culture that our government is encouraging. And again, through that culture, our government again is open so many professional schools, be it hotel, be it fishery, be it, he has opened all of that to give the opportunity. He has encouraged even children going back to the agriculture. Some think that agriculture is a bad thing, but that is why most of them now they form small units of association, small units of Njangi, Tongtin, to use the money and build and sort of continue either farming, in the Northwest they have potatoes, you have vegetables, a lot of these things. So it is not now that you are going to introduce things which are not available in the country. They are available. The question is that we have done and we are continuing to do, and President Biya wants to say, the youths understand what he wants and what he wants them to do, and they are doing it and they like it. And that's why he's come out again to say they should not be behind in the digital world. That's why he supplied them with computers. Some may become very, very good in creating even small shops here and there to
start up businesses.
Exactly. So that's why he's done that for the youths.
Okay. Now, before we get out of this, we cannot exhaust the economy in just a single program like this. I would want you to talk to each other. I'll give you 5 minutes on the economy.
Okay, maybe I will start. I will start from where Chief Tabetando have just stopped. He said that Mr. Biya has supplied youth with computers in a country where we need to create jobs. In a country where we have advanced school where they train those computers degree holder, computers engineers. Your regime have decided to travel, to go abroad, and to bring back some toys and present to the youth. Some of them are selling those toys outside there at 10,000 francs. Some of those toys, if you go at University of Yaoundé 1, you will see it written on the floor, PBH, spoil, I want to sell it, and then phone contact. No. Why? If you love this country, if you knew that you have computers engineer, why have you not decided to create a manufacturing industry in this country? That industry will have been able to create job possibility, increase taxes to be collected, and then maybe give a floor, a room to those graduating from school for their learning, in-service learning. But for the big love that you have for this country, you went abroad. You went abroad and then came back with toys. Chief, is that serious? Are you saying that Polytechnic there, are you saying that those boys are dull? That's my question.
Very interesting question. Interesting also trying to show the dimension of your knowledge about the global world. Who created computers? Who invented computers? Does that person who invented computers limited them? Only in his own country, they must enter into trade exchange. And of course, computer is a specific technical knowledge, which the children have to be given a basis. And that basis has to grow in it, and so they can become super intelligent, super specialists in it. And that is a very good, handy thing, which replaces libraries. It replaces libraries in the world, so that when you have it, you're able to store information there. You don't have to go and make researches outside. And of course, the children, what is education? The best education is research. And if the children don't have that instrument with them, they cannot do good research. And so you cannot therefore say that those are toys, because other countries like Senegal, like Ivory Coast, they did similar things to their own country by buying those computers to give to their students. So do you think that they are fools?
Okay, I would like to answer you. I am happy that you mentioned Ivory Coast.
Yes.
They instead created a company.
That is not true.
It is true?
Not true, sir. Not true, sir. Finally, go back for your research.
Okay. Prince?
Well, one of the things that we must understand is that the youths have been put in a situation in this country where they have become more or less beggars. And for the past 36 years, we do not expect an honorable person like you, whom I respect very much, to come here and to refer that President Biya has done so much for the youths, and the youths are willing to
He's
be able
still
to
doing.
him.
He's just doing, he has done. He's doing. It's a continuation.
Yes. So one of the things I would like you to understand is that we have the unemployment rate in this country, which is mostly affecting the youths, is extremely high.
Let me tell you that this is not this country alone. Please, you and I were educated.
Can I
This question of unemployment is all over the world. And there's no state in the world that can provide.
That is one of the reasons why I want us to be able to discuss in a very responsible way.
But so
that when I'm talking, you listen to me, that you can be able to answer properly.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Please, go ahead.
So the problem is that if you go on the streets now, as we speak, you will see most of the people who are languishing on the streets are youths. Those youths don't trust this regime. If you go and actually verify the number of people who have registered in the electoral list, and 65 to 70% of the population of this country is made up of youths. But if you go and verify the number of youths who registered in the electoral list, they are very, very limited. That proves to us that the voter apathy is very high among the youths. They have lost hope in this regime. They have actually become so bitter and they are frustrated. There is just no way this regime can guarantee the future of these youths. And that is why...
I thought you would ask a question.
That is, it's a question.
Yeah, no, I said
that is why we believe that when we are talking about the youths, we must understand the state of the youths. Do President Biya really understand the state of the youths in Cameroon at this point in time?
Very well, very well.
That's the first part of the question.
Very well. You want me to answer more?
Yes, you can develop.
That's why in the strata, the strata of our party, the youth have a very fundamental youth to play. And they have a role, and they have a position, a protocol position, and a practical position that they give the opportunity to express themselves and to tell what they need, what they want, and how they want it. So our party has never at any given moment played the roles, I mean, for the youth to play a second fiddle role in the scheme of things in our party. No. The youths are there. They know that the limitations of job is a matter all over the world. Even in great America, in every situation in the advanced world, you can have up to 30% of workers working on with the government. Impossible. Maybe 2%. Maybe 2%. The rest are self-employed. You have to generate something to employ people. I have to generate. It is not a matter of depending on the government. And so that is the situation which all the schools put in place now in position have been trained to make sure that when they come up, they should think first agriculture, as we are all talking about, because we have beautiful setting, geographical fit setting in our country. We have the swamp, the forest, the savanna, what have you, which can contain several kinds of agricultural activities.
Okay. Now, I'd like us no, we will have to move away from this topic and talk about politics now. And I like Kilian Dandifon to paint a picture of the political situation in the country as we move on.
The border dispute Cameroon had for several decades with neighboring Nigeria had threats that touched on sovereignty and integrity of the state. Today, it is in history books in the shelves. Pirates operating across the Gulf of Guinea with serious encroaching menace on the Cameroonian maritime space are also conjugated in the past tense today. The story of the Nigerian-based Boko Haram has been a sad one, not only because of its barbarism, but also as the sect wanted to carve out a caliphate within North Africa and the Lake Chad basin, of which Cameroon is an integral part. Here, the sovereignty and integrity of the state was equally threatened. Boko Haram is on its knees today. All these were external threats. As a federated or united country, for about 57 years of its evolving history as an independent nation, Cameroon has not faced a disintegration challenge bigger than the current internal socio-political upheavals in the northwest and southwest regions.
The political challenges which this country is facing, in fact, stems from the great problem we find today in the northwest and southwest region, where it is incumbent on government to make sure there is security before this election comes over, to try to see into it that he tries to bring the warring factions, let people drop their arms, and in fact get the people, Cameroonians, of course Anglophones of the Northwest and South region who are in the bushes, to come out, and those who are in neighboring Nigeria and other countries to come home, so that there should be peace, and the initiation of this peace must be done by government.
The socio-political upheavals in the two English-speaking regions have come at the time of a major political rendezvous, and there are concerns that there would be a spillover effect that may engender a new political challenge.
It will be difficult now for political parties to go into those regions to carry out campaigns. It will be difficult. It's insecure. We are saying it's insecure. Government should do something in this light. It is not the political parties who are going to stop the violence that is going on in the region.
They may not have the same magnitude, but there are other political challenges Cameroon is facing.
Another challenge in these elections now is how will the people of the Northwest and Southwest vote? It's a challenge. We say that this is not the problem of a political party.
A country today is its image at the concert of nations. Most, if not all, the political challenges Cameroon is facing have an impact on its image on the global platform. Cleaning the image, a diplomatic challenge that requires a political decision, strategy, operations, and tactics.
Okay, thanks, Kilian Dandifon, for that a report there. Do you agree within your party that Cameroon is at a crossroads politically?
It's not a matter of party issue here.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah, but of course.
Have you done an analysis of the situation?
Of course. Yeah.
What have you diagnosed as the problem?
The problem is the lack of dialogue. When people cannot dialogue, when people refuse to dialogue, when people think that they are more Cameroonians than others, then you can only have the kind of situation that we have right now in Cameroon.
Okay. Samuel Menang, at the level of the United Peoples for Social Renovation, have you been able to diagnose, or do you agree that we have a problem, and have you been able to diagnose the problem at the level of your party?
Well, Joe, in our party, the United People for Social Renovation, we have the same diagnosis that we have conducted, and that same diagnosis that we can apply in the management of all the aspects of our country. In fact, we have in front of us the bad fate of those who are ruling us.
So what's the problem, according to you?
The problem,
politically speaking,
the problem here is that a party, rulers, they have decided to ignore the cries of one part of the population. They have decided to say no when it was a yes. Until today, they are still in the same position. That's why I say it is a matter of bad faith. And that matter of bad faith still goes very far. When they decide, because of that bad faith again, when they decide to organize elections when the house is on fire.
Okay. Senator Tabetando, have you been able to, I'm sure you are the people on the job, and you've been able to diagnose the problem. Am I right?
Thank you, Joe. It's unfortunate that a situation of this nature has to come and continue. Because from all the intents and purposes, President Biya and his government has set in motion a dialogue system from when the issues arose, which issues were legitimate, the complaints were legitimate, and President Biya admitted that they were legitimate, and President Biya started looking for panaceas, solutions to those problems. And I'm sure that he gave in some of the things that were wanted and even more. But at that point in time, it appears those who were teleguiding the issue sort of did not want to end there. They brought in a political element, which is now. And that political element, of course, President Biya has not said he's not going to attend to it. He has been sending out people to sort of dialogue with them. Dialogue so as to find a final solution, because there's nothing more precious than peace. Except there is peace, there can be no development. Except there is peace, there can be no proper management of a people, to use his word, to galvanize the people. And so, to me and to our party, we feel that our children, be they those in the bushes or in town or in diaspora, should understand that the law for this country should be supreme in their minds, and not a matter of killing lives or destroying property. It will not help us. It will not help us. So my plea to the rest is that this is a time we should allow our own egos, allow them down, and we should allow dialogue to continue. We should give peace a chance.
Okay.
Then when that peace is given a chance, many things would flow. Because what triggered about this incident was the complaint that the lawyers and the teachers came about. And of course, to me, I thought that was going to end when the President Biya attended to those issues. But then it took a different dimension and face. So that dimension, all I can say is that let peace be given a chance. The President, who is our candidate, is certainly sees of these misunderstanding. He sees of a situation that he has to look for a solution to it, and he will look for a solution to it. So, but the first thing is that I call on my brothers, my sons, my brothers, my cousins of both Northwest and Southwest who are involved directly or indirectly in this thing, please to give peace a chance. And then this is no use creating situations. Okay,
you're making a personal plea, but you're here on behalf of your party,
yeah, but the party,
and a candidate.
As I say, the
and
party,
so the party certainly has a position.
That's what I'm saying. The party has a position. The position is to continue dialoguing.
Okay.
And to dialogue and really put the party wants that all those involved should please become reasonable and allow peace to prevail. The President Biya, he knows what he's going to do.
Okay.
To bring an
now,
end to this.
At the level of the PFD, People's Popular Front for Development, you've carried out your own diagnosis. You know what the problem is. How do you intend to tackle it if you are given the opportunity on October the 7th?
Yes, Joe, it is very simple. You know, when I listened to my brother mention the word bad faith, and those are some of the things that I contemplate on. And those are things that most Cameroonians contemplate on as regarding the position of this regime concerning this particular problem. And we all know that they are not ignorant of the problem and the solution. The solution stems from the fact that the form of the state became questionable. Questionable in the sense that Cameroonians have found themselves wanting or trapped in the current form of the state, because the form of the state does not give them the ample opportunity to be able to enrich themselves and to be able to develop. And there is just nothing wrong with a Cameroonian to begin to question the form of the state or to question some of the elements of the constitution of the country, because the constitution is not for an individual, the constitution is for the whole country, for all Cameroonians. And when we go back to the 1961 constitution of this country, and which in a paraphrase to the words of former President Aijo, he said that federalism has actually made Cameroon to become more united. So the form of the state of federalism
paradoxically, if you want to quote him, he's the one who stopped it.
Well, let us not go to the nitty-gritty. If you want us to open that window of that
I don't want it at all.
So let us go straight to the question.
I was just trying to say, if you can refocus your attention to what you're proposing as a solution to the problem which you have diagnosed.
That is the solution. Akarimuna thinks that federalism, the two-state federalism, is going to solve this problem drastically. Because when we look at the situation, and we want to look at it from a very honest and truthful point of view, we will go back to the 1961. And when we evoke the 1961, we will solve the problem without needing killings here and there. The killings here and there is already saturating our thoughts. And people are scared. I'm just coming back from a journey, Joe, at the level of the Southwest, especially my 16.
Don't worry about what is happening. It's already on the ground.
That is one of the solution that Akarimuna proposes.
Okay.
That federalism will be able to solve this problem drastically.
Okay. Samuel Menang, at the level of PUS?
At the level of PUS, Serge Espoir Matomba and all his team, they strongly believe that when you recognize that there is a problem, automatically the solution is there near to you. We are going to recognize that there is a problem in our country. Before bringing you what we really think in our party, I would like to narrate you just a short story.
A quick one, maybe?
A very quick one. This is a situation of one Cameroonian who went at Tuba. Many of you know where Tuba is found. He went at Tuba police station. He wanted his document to be signed. He was a Cameroonian from this other part. And then the police officer who was supposed to render the service was also a Cameroonian from this other side. Because the policeman was busy doing other things, he answered waywardly to that other man, "Toi le francophone là, I won't save you. No, toi l'anglophone là, I won't save you. I will not save you because you are an anglophone." The guy was very annoyed. And then he started asking himself, I am a francophone. Now they are refusing to render me a service, saying that you, that anglophone. So I just want you to imagine, to put yourself on the foot of a real anglophone. That was the beginning of the problems. Okay. For many years, I would like to present you the situation of ENS Bambili. A very short story. There, the student for more than 36 years, the school has been resembling, I don't know, a kitchen somewhere. Higher education school. In such a way that when some students, they pass their entrance while going there, instead of entering at ENS Bambili, they thought that CAS was ENS Bambili because CAS was well constructed. So those are the foundation. In our country, we have been applying a type of policy of l'anglophone ebamenda.
What does that mean?
Try, you are a Cameroonian, Mr. George Ebonge Kalabuse. Go back there. The anglophone is somebody that we need to march on. In our party, we strongly believe that we are Cameroonians from this other side or from the other one. So to solve this problem, that we believe that now the present regime is unable to solve it because they themselves, they are in the problem. They are unable to solve it. So this is how we are going to solve it. First, to recognize that there is a problem. Second, to take note of the fact that we are a family, a huge family. The family called Cameroon, not Anglophone, not Francophone. And then the second step, bring people at the dialogue. Not the dialogue that people have been saying. Have been saying that no, dialogue, but trying to bring a lot of bad faith. No, a real dialogue where we are going to discuss face to face without gendarmes and then without pressure, without putting pressure on the other side. We are going to talk about our problems, not the Anglophone problems, but our problems. At the end, I think in our party, we strongly believe that giving back autonomy through a real decentralization, giving back autonomy to community, to local council, will solve the problem. So when we are going to reach the power, we are going to practice a real decentralization. I insist on the fact that real, because CPDM doesn't know what they call decentralization. They know what they call centralization. They like power from Yaoundé, decide to give a dam or a well to a community that needs a bridge. That's how problem starts.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, I have one or two reactions.
Yes.
First, form of state. I'm sure this is exactly where most of the misconceptions and misunderstanding are coming up. And to the extent that some of our boys or girls or some population are derailed. There are 8 forms of federal systems in the world. 8 forms, and none is a model for the other. United Kingdom is a federated state, having Ireland, Scotland, etc., as United Kingdom. They have a monarchy, a monarchical government. That is a federation. That's their own federal system. Nigeria has metaphors now to 36 states. They have their own form of, they have entrenched into constitution how they can go about choosing governors, etc., etc. That's their own system. Cameroon has its own 10 regions. It's a federated state, if you don't want to use the word federated. It is not a model for any other person. America has. That is own system. Switzerland has. Canada has. There's none that is a model for the other.
But you won't,
No.
in terms of constitutional law, the one which Cameroon has is a presidentialist system.
But in Britain they have monarchical.
Yes.
In Switzerland they have its own. In America they have its own. So what I'm trying to say is that there is no model for the other. It depends on the internal administration that is set up. That makes a difference. But there's no model that this one is copying this or copying that. No. There's nothing like that. So the 10 regions we have are per se federated states. And now we have moved further in a more dynamic and evolving manner to say that devolution of power, decentralization, which we want, all of us want. Which we want is, as I wish to stand with him, that they should come to full. That is to say, the powers now that are supposed to be transferred all to these decentralized units should be given. We would want even tomorrow, if the regional councils are formed up, if a decree comes up tomorrow, we'll be very happy.
You are the one on the job.
Yes, we are the one on the job, but we have a boss.
For more than 60 years.
It doesn't matter. France, before French came to whatever it stayed, it took more than 11 years. It is not a time. This thing is a process. And some of the party members say that they will abolish ENAM and things like that. That's where you train the administrators. And then when you abolish ENAM, then you'll be training who? Fools to come and take over management of the local councils? This is not true. We should be very serious.
Okay.
So sir, I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
So the question now of, yes, to cure the issue of that Anglophone land, that Francophone land, the president has come up with a commission, bilingual and multicultural commission, to take care of that, to make sure that you feel like me. You and I were just discussing outside there. That Bafia is in Southwest, and that Bafia is also in some part of it is in Nwa. This is it, and that's what the president has brought it out now. So as for people to feel that you come from one, whether you come from the north or east or west or south, you are one, an indivisible one. And the question of the structure of the 1961 Constitution has evolved to 1996, where it has even gone further to provide those arms for protection of minorities. Take, for example, the Fiji Island. Fiji Island, they were dominated by Indians and these people, the traders, the Indians. The next country next to it is what?
Singapore?
No, it's,
okay, let's leave that
They were dominated by Indians. Okay, the Fijians, to protect that, because they are minority and it is their country, to protect it. It came out in their constitution and put minority clauses there to protect the minority power to the people at all levels. In fact, if the head of state wants, I remember late Mr. Tamfu of Nkambe. He had been lobbying before he died that they should create Bamenda into 2 regions and give Greater North.
No, Far North.
Far North.
Far Northwest.
Far North region. You know that. He wanted that before he died. And of course, the Manu people too said, we want the Manu a greater region. So we want it under this very constitutional setup. So there's nothing wrong in that. All we're saying now is, yes, something has come out as misunderstanding. And our boys and girls, some have gone to the bush. And some of our boys and girls abroad, they're trying to make sure that they don't come out. It is not for our good. They should come out and make sure that we continue. The process of dialogue is a continuous thing. It is not a matter for which it's difficult. If they can come out and then peacefully the country moves ahead. The President Biya continues with the program he has.
Is your party proposing something other than what it has been doing thus far?
But we have our manifesto.
Okay.
And we are saying that we...
And what does the manifesto say in relation to the problem in the Northwest and Southwest?
The manifesto is clear. The Cameroon remains indivisible. One
Okay.
and indivisible, one and united Cameroon.
So how do you handle that problem in the manifesto? Because you're selling your program to the Cameroonian people.
This is it I'm selling now.
Okay.
This is it. I'm saying that we want peace. We could continue with the dialogue. We should continue with the dialogue. Our children should come out. That's what we're selling out now. They should know that we are not there to divide the country. We're not there to pick and choose who is a Cameroonian and who is not a Cameroonian.
If I may say something.
Yes.
If it is true that the present regime wants dialogue, wants us to, that is, to solve the crisis, why was it that when we are still under the crisis, they decided to organize elections without putting in place mechanism to bring back that dialogue, to bring back that peace? Automatically, elections were organized within that condition. It therefore means that you have, how will I say, you have blessed the separation, you have blessed the division. Because, this is my question, and this is the question of our party, do you really think that election will take place there? That's the question, Chief Tabe Tando.
Yes, I am very confident because I know that everything they are understanding, the message is going across to the children. The tempers are reducing. And of course, you, the opposition, would have been, if you are a opposition, you are not a opposition anywhere, if there's a constitutional provision, right, that the elections had to be fixed for the 7th. It is not Biya that decided. It is the constitution. If he said, because there's crisis there, okay, I give up, the very people who are now standing as candidates would have brought objections and even written to international community, United Nations, etc., that were flouting the constitution. But again, because he was sure, and we're sure still, that our children understand what the plight, what we have to, we want peace, we want unity, we want national concord. We don't want anything like separatists. We don't want it. We know that our children are being misled. We know that. We know even though those are in the diaspora, some feel dejected, as he said, but they are not dejected. If after their qualifications they came back home and tried to do something, they would have been more better than what they are there. So they should come back. They should give a room.
Okay.
Let me remind...
yes. What are you proposing as your party's position now to handle in the immediate, after October 7, if the Cameroonian people give you the opportunity?
Well, Akeremuna believes in dialogue, and that dialogue will take place in 3 different phases. Number 1, he thinks that after he's elected president of this country, he must sit with the people. And you know that there is a conference which is being organized, which will be taking place in Boya in November. And President Akeremuna will be in that conference in order to be with the people and to listen with the people. Number 2, when we talk about dialogue and we propose peace, when we keep on arresting people who are supposed to be actors to create that peace, then it means that we are not serious. Akeremuna thinks that in order to create that enabling environment for peace and dialogue, those who have been arrested, you know, in connection to this Anglophone problem, should be arrested. Should be freed. When they are free, then they can now talk. When you hold somebody's mouth, hold his neck, and put him in a room and lock him, how do you expect him to talk? When people are free, we are living in a democratic country, as they say. if the country is really democratic, then people should be given that opportunity to be able to express themselves, no matter what they say. If what I say to you is stupid, you should not kill me because what I've said is stupid. It is said that you should throw what I say, but don't throw me. But now the regime has been throwing Cameroonians, and that's why most of Cameroonians are in the forest. Akarimuna thinks that it is wrong. Humanly speaking, it is wrong. And the regime is the cause of these people running into the forest. Because you remember that before this thing escalated, it was because the regime embarked into massive arrest of those who were using peace plans to be able to make demonstrations and make their voices heard in a democratic republic. If we are in a democratic republic, as Akarimuna has put it, then the people should be able to voice out whatever is their opinion about the concerns of the state or the concerns of the nation. The third part is that Akarimuna believes that as he's elected president on the 7th of October, he will make sure that those who the regime is accusing them that they are the ones instigating, manipulating Cameroonians in Cameroon, he will call them to come and to see if actually they were actually the cause of the problem. Because if Cameroonians who are abroad and they have worries and they have concerns, and those concerns cannot be discussed. I have seen very many delegations that this regime has sent abroad. But the delegation came out or came back. We have not seen the report of what they went to do abroad. I was imagining, or Akarimuna was thinking that these people who went abroad were going to come out with a lot of recommendations coming from Cameroonians in diaspora, especially those they are accusing that they are manipulating others back at home.
Okay, okay. Now, we have a few minutes to go to the end of the program, and I would want you to talk to each other or ask each other the question or the preoccupation in your mind. Maybe I'll begin with you.
In my mind or not out?
No. No, ask them. Ask them what you'd want them to respond to you in terms of what they have said and the position of their parties concerning this problem.
Well, the question is what they have said. I mean,
you might want to answer or respond to what they have said before you ask them something.
Yeah, the question which my friend has said about releasing those who have been arrested. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if I don't know what kind of government they want to set up in future. But if you want to set up a government which reflects democracy and democratic principles, the judiciary is separate from the legislature and the executive, isn't it? It is. And so that will give you an insight into what kind of, it tickles your mind on the question of release. How do you pick and choose those who committed offenses, criminal offenses? How do you pick and choose?
Okay.
Can I answer?
No,
yes.
I said, how do you pick and choose? The question is rhetoric.
Okay, it's a rhetoric question. Okay.
Yes.
Fine.
The government is not, President Biya is not indifferent to the fact that some may be innocent. But it's a mixture now of two. Some are, their behavior is no longer that of reacting to the real issues that were at stake before. You know that. Otherwise, the real issues that were at stake did not lead one to killing, to destroying houses, to taking lives of your own brothers. It didn't warrant that at all. So now, and some of the behaviors, now people standing on the road, stopping cars, doing this and that. And I believe very strongly that that's not the behavior of my children from the Northwest and Southwest. I don't believe that that's their natural behavior. I believe some other people have come out. They have used that as a pawn to come and destroy the situation. I believe that they are not all Southwest and Northwesterners, because they have used the situation to exploit it. And they're using that situation to exploit it. You can't deem it again as people who are demonstrating because of the infringement of their rights. But it is now like terrorists. It is now like what do you call them? Armed robbers. Like it used to happen sometimes in the extreme north. So I don't believe that they are really, really, really Cameroonians from Northwest or Southwest. So we are saying that if those poor people have come from elsewhere to disrupt our peace, please, they should withdraw and leave our children in peace, not to drug our children, not to get our children involved. Because if you see some of the lists at some given moment when they say that flush out somewhere, you see the names are very foreign. The names don't sound like Northwest names or Southwest names. So we're saying that because of this commingling of issues, people have come in from elsewhere. That's my belief. And because I believe that way, that's why I'm strongly, like my government, like President Biya is strongly saying, we continue with a dialogue and continue, so I will lay down the arms. So I will come back as brothers and sisters. These solutions will be solved.
Okay. Yes.
You said that among those who have been arrested, there is a mixture. That's why it is difficult for President Paul Biya to be able to release all of them. At the same time, you said that there is a list of names.
No, don't misquote me.
People.
Just here. I said that. Can you pick and choose those who have committed offenses, criminal offenses?
So there's a mixture. That's what you said.
I don't know, but there's something like that. Because you said those who were arrested before, did they commit criminal offenses?
I'm just saying.
I'm asking you.
You said that there's a mixture.
Yeah, because there are some now who have been arrested because they are killing.
Good. But
they are destroying houses.
And you just said that there's a list of names, and some of those names.
Where incidents have just occurred. Don't misquote me.
Yeah.
Don't misquote me.
Sir,
don't misquote me, please.
I'm just repeating your words, sir. I'm not misquoting you.
Me.
You said that there is a list of names, and those names do not sound as names from Cameroon.
Some of them, yes.
So how come that you are saying that there's a mixture? At the same time, do you have list of those you have identified as not Cameroonians?
I am telling you that they are published names. Didn't you read them in the papers?
No.
Didn't you read some in papers?
This is my question.
No, the question is, did you read them on papers? I read everything.
You read them on papers.
And
but now, how come that the problem cannot be solved after identifying those who are coming from different areas, who are not Cameroonians?
Have they stopped shooting?
So they have been arrested?
Have they stopped shooting?
They have been arrested? Or you?
I think your question.
Okay. Your question it's not clear. Yes, Samuel.
Yeah. I would like to say something. I
thought you wanted to ask him a question.
Yes, it's a question.
Okay.
It's a question.
Yes.
We go straight to the question, please.
Okay.
Don't go to his history.
The first thing I wanted to say is that Chief Tabetando said that I think that was just by mistake.
Which one?
That we are not opposition. I know that Cameroonian knows that we are opposition and that we don't resemble them. We are struggling, we are appealing for a serious end of crisis. We are even giving them how to do that.
You want to appropriate the opposition?
Yes, we are opposition. They seem to be blind, as they have been blind for 36 years, and Cameroon knows that. So
Cameroon knows that.
That the ruling,
that your opposition,
that we are in opposition, and then that the ruling party is blind.
If you tell me, then I answer you.
Yeah, the ruling party is blind. Now, I have this question I wanted to ask to Chief Tabetando. I still insist, if with that situation of our country not being stable, why is it that you people rush in organizing election? You answer saying that it is a constitutional provision. No. Cameroonians are not blind. We know how dates, constitutional provision has been
tampered with.
Yes, tampered with in this Cameroon. It is not because of. It is not only for that situation where our peace, where our unity is at stake, that they have decided to come back to constitution. Why? Do you really think that election will take place there? By so doing, don't you think that you have instead decided to divide our country into 8 regions going in for elections and 2 being out?
I'm sure the give Mr.
Yes,
I'm sure that
quick response.
Patriotism is a key word, the underlying word for any citizen of a country. Yeah. Patriotism, the word patriotism. If you're patriotic about your country, whatever thing comes up, choice of a head of state, a president to rule you, to govern you and govern the state, and to carry things forward is primary important. And if the Constitution so provide that the date cannot be so changed like you change a decree or an arrêté, you cannot. The process of changing will not certainly be that you can change overnight. But besides, everybody had, and I saw that there was quiet, there was movement towards peace. Everything was going. It has just now sort of resurfaced. peace was going on. Even when we went for the senatorial elections, it was the tension which is now wasn't there. So there was indication that this election would certainly take place in an atmosphere of peace. And I'm sure that the head of state is going to take appropriate measures to make sure that people understand about the value of this election. And I bet you that they will vote. I bet you that Northwest and South and the whole country is going to vote. They're going to vote. Okay.
On that note, we conclude this edition of the program with the hope of meeting you again, God willing. Join Kmerreplay Bina next Tuesday for another in the series. His is called Sample Presidential. Stay with CRTV if you can. Have a nice evening.